In late 1979, inside a dimly lit basement in Omaha, a quiet man sat surrounded by stacks of yellowing financial reports. Outside, the world was falling apart. Inflation had spiked above 14%. Interest rates were suffocating small businesses, and media headlines insisted that the era of wealth creation was officially dead. Yet, while millions panicked and sold everything they owned, this man was doing something so absurd, so counterintuitive, that even his closest associates thought he had lost his mind. He was pouring millions of dollars into a sleepy, unglamorous candy company that barely anyone outside California had ever heard of. Why would someone buy a slow-growing box candy maker in the middle of the worst economic crisis of a generation? Because he had uncovered a hidden structural anomaly, a secret mechanism in how true value compounds over time, that less than 1% of investors ever see. And what he discovered in that tiny candy business holds the ultimate key to how massive, unshakable wealth is actually built in the real world. If you have ever felt like you are working hard, making all the right moves, yet constantly running on a financial treadmill, pay very close attention, because the silent mechanism we are dissecting today is going to expose why 90% of modern advice is completely wrong, and how quiet strategic leverage can change your life forever. Let us look at the crime scene of modern financial advice. Every single day, you are bombarded with the exact same message: move faster, trade harder, chase the newest trend, and hyper-optimize every single penny. It sounds exciting, it feels productive, but it hides a deadly trap. To understand why, we have to look at a brilliant forensic breakdown of two competing businesses in the early 90s. Company A was an aggressive technology firm. They hired top-tier executives, spent millions on flashy marketing campaigns, and reported massive 30% growth year after year. They were the darling of financial news. Company B, on the other hand, was an overlooked regional distributor of basic manufacturing parts. Their headquarters were boring, their CEO wore plain suits, and their yearly growth was a humble, quiet 7% on paper. Company A looked like a rocket ship, while Company B looked like a snail. So, what happened 10 years later? Company A went completely bankrupt, erasing billions in shareholder value overnight, while Company B quietly turned its early investors into multimillionaires. How is that possible? How does a slow, boring distributor completely destroy a high-flying corporate powerhouse? The answer lies in a concept known as the friction cost of velocity. When you force a business or your personal finances to grow too fast, you create invisible internal friction. You take on hidden debt, you make impulsive decisions, and you sacrifice your core foundation just to feed the illusion of speed. Company A was burning through capital just to keep up its appearance of growth. Meanwhile, Company B was masterfully exploiting the hidden strategy of asymmetric retention. Instead of constantly chasing new customers, Company B focused entirely on keeping their existing clients forever. They engineered their operations so tightly that it became virtually impossible for a customer to leave without destroying their own business. They built an invisible moat, and in the world of true wealth, a deep moat is infinitely more valuable than a fast engine. Think about your own life for a moment. How many times have you pushed yourself to double your effort, only to watch unexpected expenses, burnout, or bad timing reset your progress right back to square one? It is an agonizing feeling. You work late into the night, you make personal sacrifices, yet the goalposts seem to keep moving further away. The truth is, you are not failing because you lack drive or intelligence. You are struggling because you are operating in a system that forces you to fight against time. Instead of making time fight for you. To see how real positioning works, let us examine another forgotten micro-story from the retail industry. In the mid-2000s, a small furniture retailer was facing complete annihilation from massive e-commerce giants. While competitors rushed to offer heavy discounts and burnt through cash running online ads, this small retailer did something completely silent. They looked at their balance sheet and realized their biggest asset was not the furniture they sold, it was the physical land under their warehouses. Instead of panicking, they restructured their entire operation, quietly purchasing prime real estate during economic dips. When a major recession hit, Their competitors collapsed under the weight of expensive leases and falling sales, but this quiet retailer survived. Not because they sold more furniture, but because their land holdings backed their entire business with rock-solid collateral. They did not win by playing a better offensive game. They won by building an unshakable defensive fortress. And this leads us to the hidden law of asset leverage. Wealth is not built by how much you make on your best days. It is built by what you do not lose on your worst days. When you look closely at how the world's most enduring empires were constructed, you realize they all share three invisible rules. Rule number 1: eliminate structural fragility before chasing upside. If an unexpected shock can wipe out 3 years of your hard work, you do not have a wealth strategy, you have a fragile gamble. Rule number 2: master the quiet power of nonlinear compounding. In the early stages of building real capital, progress is almost invisible. You invest your time, you discipline your focus, you preserve your capital, and nothing seems to happen. It feels lonely, boring, and deeply frustrating. Your friends might be showing off flashier results bought on leverage and short-term bets, and the temptation to abandon your quiet strategy will feel almost unbearable in those moments. Remember the Box Candy Company from 1979? For years, its growth looked entirely flat, but beneath the surface, it was building deep brand loyalty, zero debt, and unstoppable pricing power when inflation finally settled. That boring candy maker generated hundreds of millions of dollars in pure cash flow, funding the expansion of an entire financial empire. The massive payoff did not come from constant daily shifts, it came from waiting out the noise. Which brings us to rule number 3: protect your psychological bandwidth at all costs. The modern world is designed to keep your mind hyperactive, anxious, and constantly reactive, because an anxious person is easy to sell to. And easy to distract. When you constantly check the market, chase shiny opportunities, and alter your course every few months, you are paying a massive emotional tax. You drain the exact mental clarity required to see big shifts before everyone else. The elite wealth builders operate like calm, meticulous detectives. They observe, they analyze, they set their trap, and then they sit completely still. They understand that patience is not passive waiting. Patience is active capital protection. So, where does this leave you today? It leaves you with a choice. You can continue running in the high-speed, high-stress rat race, chasing every quick promise and constantly resetting your momentum, or you can take a step back. Strip away the structural noise and begin building a quiet fortress of your own. Start by auditing where your energy is being wasted. Cut out the artificial urgency. Stop trying to impress people who will not matter in 5 years. And focus ruthlessly on building deep, unshakable roots. Focus on mastering high-leverage skills, preserving your margin of safety, and letting the slow, unstoppable law of compounding work its magic. Because when the storms of life inevitably hit, the flashy sports cars and over-leveraged empires will vanish in the wind, while the quiet, disciplined, resilient foundation you built today will be standing taller than ever.